Welcome to the Chronic Pain Call-In Show, hosted by Joseph of Borg. You can call in live 725-333-4140. Hello and welcome to the Chronic Pain Call-In Show. I am your host, Joseph of Borg. Hope you all are having a good day. Let me move over a little bit, get better in the camera. There you go. Not that I'm that much to look at. If the sound and everything's good, somebody give me a thumbs up, and here we go. Thought I'd come on today and talk to you guys about the fact that I am leaving YouTube and why I'm leaving YouTube. Quite frankly, it's just not worth my time. There's the honest truth. Might as well cut right to it. I am finding that putting myself on YouTube is it's just not worth the energy to upload separately to YouTube. I've started recently using StreamYard, which I really enjoy their format. It makes it really nice. I wish my computer had a graphics card so I could green screen right through them, but I've learned some internet magic, if you will, so I can use my green screen. But quite frankly, it's $25 a month that I can put to better use to be able to stream to both YouTube and Facebook. And Facebook just seems to be so much more of a community. That's where all the pain groups I belong to and administer are. And it's simply not worth the time, effort, and energy for the 3 views or so that I get on YouTube. So if you have been watching me on YouTube and you want to continue to follow with me, I'm on Facebook and Chronic Pain Call-In Show on Facebook. Same name, same people, same place. So feel free to come on over and follow me there. So, yeah, that's the big news. I've decided to drop off of YouTube. It's simply not worth my energy. Maybe in the future, I'll give it another shot. But right now, it's just not. Using my little bit of resources. I, like a lot of you, are on fixed incomes, so I know how it goes. You know how it goes. And it is what it is. Maybe down the road, I'll set up a tip jar or something, and if I get enough money donated that way, maybe I'll go back to doing that and streaming to both of them. But it's just really not worth the price. The only other difference is I can use the free version of StreamYard to just stream at a time there in the corner, but quite frankly, that doesn't bother me because I do enjoy using their service. So looks like I got 1 viewer right now, which hey, one's a start. One's all I need. I keep telling myself if I make a difference in one person's life, it's all worthwhile. For those of you who don't know who I am or why I'm on here, I call myself Joseph of Borg because I have a computer attached to my spinal cord that lets me walk. It blocks the pain from my low back issues, and I'm kind of a Star Trek fan, so I went with Joseph of Borg. I've been a member of the online pain community pretty much since there's been an online pain community. I run a couple of groups, one for people with spinal cord stimulators, with about 5,000 members, and that's kind of my credentials. I've got both cervical and lumbar spinal issues. I finally was forced out of the workplace back in 2015. My wife and I recently relocated to southeast Iowa in a very small town of around 700 or 800 people. You can literally see the cornfields from either side of Main Street just by looking down the street. So yeah, that's I just recently got my studio set back up so I could get back online. trying to be a productive member of the chronic pain community, reach out to other people who may not have anybody else to talk to or anyone else to go to for any kind of resources. I know depression and loneliness tend to come with chronic pain for most of us, and I figured if I can reach out to some other people and help them know they're not the only one and they're not alone. This idea really came to me when the big opiate witch hunt first began. Um, more people than I care to count that I knew from the internet, or as I call it, I knew them digitally, ended up checking out because they couldn't get their pain meds anymore. Many of them who had managed their pain successfully for decades decided to take their own lives, and I found myself grieving these people that I'd never met in the physical world or the real world. So I figured if I could have such a strong emotion for people I'd never physically met, that the opposite would be true, and I could form friendships and make a difference in people's lives. And it gives me a calling and something to do, and a way to feel like I'm a positive influence. Surprisingly, the biggest challenge has been getting people to actually call in or get in the live chat. If you don't want to be on the live chat or whatever, I also have a email where you can contact me. I will put that up on the little ticker there until I get annoyed by it. But yeah, just trying to be a force for good in the whole situation. So, hey, Bert, how's it going? I'm guessing that the sound and everything is okay, and because nobody who's watching has told me otherwise. Um, I I've been kind of stressing over. Oh, Bert's not been well. I've been okay, but I've been struggling with the idea. I got to have a tooth that broke, uh, either root canaled or extracted. And I'd like to keep the tooth. It's a major chewing tooth. It's the one next to the rear molar on my left side on the top. It's going to be pricey, but you know, first world problems, right? So, what's up with you, Bert? Share with me a little bit. I'm definitely sorry to hear you've not been well. Well, I'm waiting for Bert to type something in. You can call in live. Uh, area code 725-333-4140. Should be a free call for just about anybody on the planet, as far as I know. I got that number when I was still living in Las Vegas, so that's why it's a 725. Bert got his second spinal cord stimulator implanted in January, and it isn't working. Oh man, I'm so sorry. 12th programming attempt this week. Um, Let me ask you a question, Bert. Are you using the high frequency where you can't feel it, or are you using low frequency where you can feel it? I guess that would be my first question. I made a video about programming once that may or may not be of any help to you, but I think that's the number one place to start. And one of the reasons why is I think, especially on some of the brands, and I'm not going to name brands, I don't name drop and I don't criticize. As far as I'm concerned, it's like Coke versus Pepsi or Ford versus Chevy. Uh, but yeah, if you use some of the reps for some of the companies that really like to brag on their high frequency, can be reluctant to give you a low frequency program, um, which if you can't feel the sensation, then it can be really, really hard to target it where you need it. So I often tell people it's a relatively simple thing to go with a lower vibration so you can feel it, get it into the right area, and then raise the frequency if necessary. So you're using tonic right now. So is it just not getting where you need it to be? Like it's a targeting issue, or it's just not covering your pain, Bert? Targeting issue. Um, is it in your cervical or your lumbar spine? The spinal cord stimulator, is it for your, I guess I should say, is it for your cervical or your lumbar? Because if it's for your lumbar, the leads are actually usually in your thoracic. And of course, it sounds like this is your second one, so I'm guessing you wouldn't have got a second one if the first one hadn't worked. Yeah, the lumbar can be challenging. So you're not able to get the tingle feeling or whatever you want to call it in the right area? Yeah, I'll tell you, it's the programming is and the programmers, and it's not that they're not good people or they're not trying. I think they're the weak link in the process because it's kind of like Ann Sullivan and Helen Keller. You know, they've never felt it, so they don't really know what it's like. It's like they've been told by somebody what color is, and then they're trying to explain color, even though they're blind. Um, you can get close, but no cigar. Um, I would say now I happen to have a Medtronic, okay, and they call it the bandwidth, but it's what it really is in science terms is the amperage, which ends up being your area of effect. So if they can play with your amperage, whatever they call it, through the company you're using, because I'm able to set mine where I can feel it from my bottom rib to the soles of my feet when it's at like maximum spread, I believe is the term they call it. Okay, so you've got a Medtronic too, so at least maybe some of the terminology they use will be the same. I got to get rid of that ticker; it's driving me nuts. I'm sorry. Um, so yeah, if they can maybe change your the spread or the amperage, whatever the area of effect setting, that might be the easiest way to describe it to your programmer. Yeah, you know, sometimes less tech is better. Um, I mean, they've come so far so fast with, hey, it's capitalism at work. I hope I don't offend anybody, but, that's the reason we have so many different options and so many different, everybody's got their own individual bells and whistles. It's amazing to see how fast they give, uh, that the changes come about in the technology. Um, I'm probably going to be up for a battery upgrade in another year or two, and I'm really not looking forward to it. Yeah, it would be great if they've got some new bells and whistles and whatnot, but you know, I think once you've had success with one of these, you become very worried about failure with it. Um, I guess enough said. I'm very phobic of like falling on the ice or anything like that. I'm very protective of my implant. It feels kind of weird, but almost almost neurotic. But it's the equivalent of turning my legs off if something goes wrong with it. So that's like I love roller coasters, but I don't ride them anymore. It's simply not worth the risk. So. Um, but yeah, I hope maybe that can help a little bit because you've basically got the voltage, which is your power of. I use the example of a cat purring because I have mine turned, or I guess I should say tuned, programmed, so it feels like I have a house cat laying on the small of my back purring. Now, if they adjust the voltage, which is the power up, um, the cat purrs harder. Um, if they play with the amperage, um, that kind of changes the size of the cat, if you will. And if they change the frequency, that's the speed at which the cat is purring. Um, oh, you're in Canada, huh? Well, hey, at least they're trying to get you some Medtronic reps. So, I'm gonna just put up what he said. He says in Canada, the programmers are trained neurosurgical nurses, and they failed with 9 attempts. The last few attempts have been Medtronic reps. Well, that's excellent that they are really going all out to, that they're flying in a specialist. Yeah, I suppose it could be a fault with the unit itself, but I'm going to assume, even though that's the mother of all fuck ups, uh, that they've already done the diagnostics and checked to make sure your leads, whether you have percutaneous leads or a paddle, are in the proper location and everything. Um, I know when I got mine, I was living in Minnesota, and they had a uh, several batteries. I don't want to say a batch because I don't have any idea how many, but my rep said that one of the reps had left the batteries in their car trunk when we got really super cold in Minnesota, and the batteries actually froze. Um, and it mucked up the batteries. Yeah, I can't get the spot. And it's one of those frustrating things. Yeah, okay, so you've got a 16 electrode paddle. So, yeah, I've got two 8-point percutaneous leads. So each of us has 16 points or 16 electrodes. Mine are on the spaghetti looking leads, so they cover several levels of my spine. But yeah, when I was going to get to that, when you're looking at 16 electrodes, and each electrode can be on and positive, it can be on and negative, since the electrons flow from positive to negative, um, or they can be off altogether. So, when you start looking at, there's the three variables times the 16 electrodes. I mean, there's literally millions of, yeah, gazillions of combinations. I tried to do the math once just for fun, and I think I came up with around 4 million combinations uh, before I, said that's a lot. So yeah, trying to get it in the right place, trying to get it in, and let's face it, it's a game of millimeters. We all know if you, raise your hands above your head or whatever, you can change the sensation. Uh, so, it's literally a game of millimeters. So, it's a trial. It's as much an art as a science, but hey, I applaud you. Um, Coming in. Oh, a couple people came in and came out. I guess I'm super boring. Um, but yeah, I applaud you sticking with it. And it sounds like you've had a taste of success. And like I tell people, if you've had a trial and you had a successful trial, they will have a hard time keeping you away from getting a implant permanently. A little taste. I think it's kind of a testament to how well the things can work. And I understand they don't work for everybody, but for those who do work, hey, Nancy, so glad to have you stop in. For those people who do work and get a little taste of success with them, they'll go to almost any length to get it back. My heart breaks for the people who have trials that are not successful because, quite frankly, my pain was up at suicidal levels before I got mine. I don't think I'd still be here. And we'll just leave that at that. You guys know what I'm talking about if you're part of the chronic pain community. So Nancy, where are you from? And I'm so glad. I know you said you'd stop in, so I'm so glad to have you. Bert and I were just talking about his spinal cord stimulator. He just got a second one, and it's not functioning as well as he'd like. Yeah, I spent 8 months pretty much housebound / bedridden, Bert. um, waiting to get my implants. So, hey, is that Jessamine? Am I pronouncing that right? Glad to have you along. So, Nancy, you're from Grafton, Wisconsin. I don't know what part of Wisconsin that is, but I'm a native of Minnesota, southwest Minnesota, I guess or I guess south central. Shakopee is where I last lived before I moved to Vegas and now back to Iowa. And how about you, Jessica? I'm just going to call you Jess so that I don't muck up your name, and I hope you don't find that offensive. But Jess, welcome. Where are you from? Excellent. I got a lucky guess on that. So I'm glad to have you both join me. Amazingly, you would think with as many people in the chronic pain community as there are, and I've tried to make it as easy as possible to have people communicate with me. That's why I went with a phone number as well as the chat, as well as people can email me off the live stream. Um, because sometimes you just don't feel like typing. I have problems with my fine motor skills. That's why I went to video instead of doing a uh, blog. Uh, Bert, I'm so sorry that you've been back in bed since November, man. I wish there was something I could do for you. And Mary, I'm going to go ahead and put up your comment because it helps me keep track. So Nancy is southeastern Wisconsin. Okay. Uh, Chronic pain advocate for a state and member of DPPR. Excellent. Awesome work you're doing. I would love to interview you sometime, and we could do something pre-recorded that I could share. I've also got a page called Surfing the Pain where I'm going to start featuring people who are chronic pain patients and what they do. You know, when we're forced from the workforce, like a lot of us are, it's tough because you lose your a lot of your identity, and it's really important to try. Oh, sure. The number's right, should be right up in the corner there, but it's 725-333-4140. And Jess, I'll put your credentials up there. Yeah, before you guys got in the room, I was talking about that one of the motivators for me to get on here was I lost so many people I knew through the internet due to the opiate witch hunt, and they um, I found myself mourning them, and I wanted to try and do something to reach out to other people because I figured if I could feel that strongly and have forged those relationships to the point that I was mourning these people, that the opposite was true. I could have meaningful relationships with people through the internet and try and be a light in dark places. To be quite honest, there we go. I'll get you up there, Jess. September 3rd. So yeah, the don't punish pain rally. It's great work that the don't punish pain folks do. Um, I'm hoping to get a chance to interview Bob. Uh, is it Sharon from the American? Oh, I don't want to muck it up. The American Pain Association. Anyway, I'm going to get him up there. He's got quite a following. He's done some amazing stuff. He's actually, yeah, Bob Sheeran. He's yeah, Bert. It's about the opiate. I call it the opiate witch hunt because that's what it feels like. Feels a lot like genocide. Yeah, American Pain and Disability Foundation. Thank you, Jess. Thank you so much. Yeah, Bob's a great guy. He's done some amazing work, and he and I have become good friends uh, through our. He does a group for pain pumps, and I do spinal cord stimulators. So since those are kind of the last two things on the pain management menu, it's kind of uh, it was kind of a natural bond and alignment. So yeah, he and I plan to do some work together in the near future. I'm really just getting back my feet under me, so to speak, with getting my studio set back up after we bought the house, and the place had been neglected and the closing had been put off for several months. So, between trying to get the landscaping and bushes and shit under control, um, it's just been too much for me to get on and start doing videos again. And I didn't want to do it and then be inconsistent. I try to get on every Sunday, um, unless I'm absolutely having a flare. So, yeah, Bob's a hell of a guy. So, um, oh wow! So Western Pennsylvania State Ambassador is Jen. Y'all got some impressive credentials. I'm just a dude. As often as not, to be honest, I feel like I'm just screaming into the darkness sometimes. So I'm glad to have three of you in the live chat today. I'm always after people to give me a like so that the analytics can help people find what I'm doing. Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, I'm a good dude. I like to think so. I do my best, and that's all we can do. Um, at risk of offending anybody, my faith teaches me that, everything gets used for good. So I try and I made myself a promise. Uh, I'll bore you with a little story, but, a lot of it's about bonding and forming relationships. When I was waiting to get my implant, back in 2013, my doctor told me straight up, don't even pay attention to what you see on the internet. There were no success stories I could find. There were just horror stories. And let's face it, we all know that some people seem to take a certain pleasure in scaring the hell out of people. And I made myself a promise that if I was a success story, I was going to stick around on the internet, because most success stories go back to having a life, so to speak. So I created a group. See if I can pop it up right here right now. Yeah, called Spinal Cord Stimulator Success Stories, because all I found were these horrific stories. And, oh, it's the devil and, whatnot. You got to take everything on the internet, obviously, with a grain of salt. But I told myself if I was a success, I was going to stick around. And I made a group and a page, and I never in my wildest dreams would have thought it would pass 5,000 members. And it's well beyond that now. So, yeah, you can swim, Sarah. Sarah, welcome to the chat. You can swim with a spinal cord stimulator. Um, Let me make a quick caveat. First, let me take that damn banner down. All right. Um, and I will put your question up there. Yeah, you can swim with it, but there's one caveat. It depends on what your underlying issue is. It doesn't fix, it blocks pain. Okay, the way it was explained to me, that's the most, uh, my favorite way that I've ever had it explained, I guess is the best way to put it, is it's just like blocking HBO for people that don't pay for it. So, yeah, I do actually work out in the water. I do more core work and stuff. Uh, I haven't had a chance to do aerobics. I haven't gotten in the pool as much as I should. I was real religious about it in Vegas, but since moving cross country, I haven't got it set up, and I've been trying to catch up with other stuff. But yeah, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to take your stimulator in the water, um, you know, to exercise. There is one brand where the power source is external, which I didn't really look into because that was a non-starter for me, because you can't get that one wet. So just in the interest of, uh, transparency, I guess, as they say. But yeah, I find if I'd have found working out in the water when I was a young man, even before I got sick, I never would have touched a free weight or a treadmill. I started doing, I went to arthritis group for aquatic exercise, and like 30 pounds fell off me just from working my core. So, and it makes it so much easier because you're not fighting gravity. My pain is diminished because I'm not subject to gravity, and the hydrostatic pressure of the water against your body helps your heart and lungs work better. So yeah, it's Jess had a pain pump and it was removed in June. Is that because it just didn't work out, or what made you decide to have it removed, Jess? And Sarah, if you don't mind, where you from? Glad to have you along. Granulomas. I'm not sure what that is, Bert. Ooh, ick. I'm sorry, Jess. Yeah, no, that sounds like a nightmare. You know, it comes with risk. We all know that. So, oh, Nancy, absolutely. I'm gonna put your comment up because absolutely. I call it the opiate witch hunt. Yeah, it feels like genocide for those of us who are chronic pain patients. I mean, it's criminal. I mean, I wouldn't wish the situation on anybody, but I got to admit, there's times I wish some of these people that want to report overdoses of street drugs and overdoses of prescription opiates as if they're the same thing. I wish they could have just a taste and see. Oh, Jess, I'm so sorry. That just sounds like a nightmare. I'll tell you, I've been real happy I went electronic because my pain never responded well to opiate-based medications orally. So in my mind, I thought, well, I'll just try the electric route, and it doesn't have to be refilled and whatnot. And I know I'm very fortunate that it works so well. Bert, I am so glad to hear that you guys are able to get your meds over there. Because yeah, here in the U.S. it varies wildly. I take 3 to 5, maybe on a bad week, maybe 6 or 7 Oxy 5s to help take the edge off if I'm going to ride in the car or whatnot. So it. I've not had a problem getting mine filled, knock wood, and thank God. But for a lot of people, it's been horrific. I'm gonna put your comment up there, Sarah, so everybody can read it. Yeah, I'm. People don't understand until it happens to them. So I'm glad that you stopped by to join the conversation and check out the show. Yeah, I've heard the stories of cancer patients. I mean, your end of life, your hospice, your palliative, situation. I remember even back in the day, about a decade ago, my mom, she was a chronic pain patient and she was bedridden, and not to speak ill of the dead, morbidly obese to the tune of north of 500 pounds before she died. But she turned down kidney dialysis, refused it when she started having kidney failure because she was ready to go. And they were still, some of the doctors were like, well, we don't want her to become addicted. What's the difference? What's the difference at this point? She turned down dialysis in February. They told me she'd be dead by July. She lived till October. What's the difference? At that point. You know, and yeah, it definitely is an issue for healing. If you can minimize your pain, science research is proven, from what I understand, that you heal better if your body's not under that stress. Oxy 25s, ooh, those would put me on my butt. I avoid, like I tell my doctors, if I'm sitting on the couch with my wife watching TV, if my pain's at a 5 or a 7, it doesn't matter, and that's my 5 or 7. The pain scale. One of the big problems with chronic pain is the pain scale itself, because not everybody uses the same scale. If you read the examples, for example, some of them at 10 is the worst pain you can imagine, and some of them will say 10 is where you're actually passing out from the pain. um, you know, where is your 10, what 10, who's 10, on what scale. It's just very sloppy. I don't know how they could better do it, but it is what it is. um, it, communicating with our doctors. uh, you know we got this is just a taste, in my opinion, and I don't mean to be political, but I don't trust the government for anything ever, because I know history. Okay. So the idea of having people from the government involved in a healthcare at all, I don't like. And let's face it, they can say that it's going to be the government is going to be running the healthcare, this and that, but whoever's signing the check is running the show. We all know how the world works. So, oh, absolutely, increase function, and the less you do, you know, uh, Nancy brings up, the less you do, the less you can do. It becomes a downward spiral, horrifically quickly too. Um, yeah, it's one of those things. I always tell people. Sarah makes a really good point here, and I always tell people it's a lot like uh, the death of a parent. Uh, Getting married, getting divorced, until it happens to you and you go through it, you don't understand. I don't have any biological children. I have stepchildren and a foster child, who I love to death, but I can't really understand what it's like to have your own biological children. Um, it's you just don't. It's just not the same. I'm gonna put Bert's comment up here and read it here. Since my old stim battery died in November, I've had severe full body allodynia uh, attacks that come and go at random. Concerned about heart nerve to develop a heart attack. Tripled his meds to slow all body and mind functions until the new stim was implanted, and now it's not working. So it's mentally challenging. Yeah, it can be tough not to give up hope. Hello, Julie. Welcome to the conversation. Yeah, the government that rules best rules least is what I've always learned. I'm going to put these up. No real citizen love since like FDR. Yeah, once upon a time, both medicine and politics were a calling. They weren't an avenue to get rich. Um, so that's really something that's changed in my lifetime. I've watched a lot of things change. I've watched how they've started using healthcare and health insurance as if they're interchangeable, and they're not the same thing. I've watched what used to be called the American justice system uh, change the terminology to the American legal system, probably because it doesn't seem to have anything to do with justice anymore. I don't have a party, so I'm not leaning politically either way, but I don't want the government in anyone's life any more than absolutely necessary. I got to put this up because, yeah, Nancy, I'm absolutely with you. Um, I was getting out of high school just when the uh, government agencies got busted for bringing cocaine into the country by the ton on private planes. So yeah, and the war on drugs, you know, I guess I lean libertarian if I have had to. Um, yeah, uh, Jess, that's it borders on, or it feels a lot like eugenics. You know, we're not productive enough, so they want to get rid of us. So they don't want to say it, but yeah, if they can get rid of us, they seem to want to get rid of us. But yeah, the government and the war on drugs. I mean, at the end of the day, I look at it like this. Whose body is it? If you're not, uh, if you're not free to do as you will with your body, then how can you be free? And we'll just leave it at that. I don't want to soapbox on a political rant of any kind, but sometimes fun costs you, and at the end of the day, it should be up to you. Yeah, during the Reagan years, it went nuts. Yeah, it was outrageous, and the guns for drugs and all that. I mean, it's all out there. I mean, if you've got an interest, but it is what it is. I just don't. I've got far too many friends who live on reservations for me to ever trust the federal government, and we'll just leave that at there. Put this up. Opioid use. Yeah. Well, and not only that, but they want to talk that dependence and addiction are the same, and they're not. Okay. My buddy James is a diabetic. He's dependent on his insulin. He's not addicted to it. Okay. And there's tolerance, and they're all three different things, but they like to get out that big wide brush and paint it all the same because it's good for headlines. You know, uh, I'm trying to keep up with all that. You guys got such great comments. Maybe be careful what you ask for. I'm having trouble keeping up. Yeah, marijuana, the gateway drug. I'm glad to hear that they've taken it off, but I'll tell you what, I've said it for years. The gateway drug is sugar. Okay, we've all seen how toddlers go on some sugar, and if you've seen a kid throwing a fit uh, in the store for a candy bar, it looks an awful lot like an addict who needs a fix. Um, and I use those terms with the greatest respect. I don't mean to slur anybody, but it looks a lot like that. Um, the softest illegal drug is always going to be your gateway drug because you got sugar and caffeine, and they start out children on that. At one point, I owned my own used car lot, and I would stop at like 2 or 3 in the afternoon once in a while to get a Starbucks for a little pick me up. And these junior high and even middle school kids were coming in getting triple espressos with caramel and chocolate syrup, so they're getting the caffeine and the sugar fix. And I wondered, how is this even legal? We all know that these substances are uh, addictive. In fact, caffeine and sugar are probably two of the most addictive. Yeah, I've done some reading and studying on Portugal. Yeah, like I said, I think they should just legalize drugs across the board. If you want to put the money into stopping them, look, nobody's going to get clean unless they want to. So if you took all the money you did into trying to fight the drugs to offering free treatment for those who choose and want to get off the drugs, I think you would have a lot more success. It's kind of like, and I'm going to step on a third rail of politics here intentionally, but it's kind of like abortion. If you're against abortion, let's work to make the demand for abortion less. Okay? And so that there aren't so many women who are wanting abortions, either through better prevention for pregnancy or counseling of how to prevent getting pregnant, or there's other ways to work at it other than screaming at some girl outside a clinic. Gateway to addiction is trauma. I've heard that a lot. I haven't studied on it as much as I probably would like to. Um, So yeah, I'm glad you like that comparison, Nancy. That opiates for pain are no different than insulin for a diabetic. Um, yeah, sugar's an addiction, and it's subsidized. And then they're going to have programs from the government to fight obesity, but every couple of years they seem to change the names of sugars. High fructose corn syrup is something else now, and yeah, they play games. It's like a shell game or whack-a-mole. Hey, look at that. Yep, Jess mentioned the high fructose. Yeah, and hey, I'm in Iowa where it's corn country, so it's big business here. One of the reasons why ethanol and the corn sweeteners I've heard are such off-limit topics on the federal stage is because the presidential primary, the first one, is here in Iowa. Nobody wants to lose the first one. Oh yeah, always follow the money. When in doubt, who's getting rich? Interesting topic. We're getting a little bit off onto a side topic, but it's an important topic. I think, now, I don't have a lot of experience with street drugs, don't know much about the street drug culture, so I'll disclaim that. But one of the ways that people overdose, from my understanding, is they don't know the strength of what they're getting. So if you don't know, I mean, I try and draw the parallel to alcohol. Um, let me catch up with the chat here, and I'll be right back with my. Yeah, rather than suing, just regulate it and take your money. In Nevada, it's the wild, wild west of weed out there. They got the dispensaries, everything. The amount of money that's flowing in taxes is absolutely ridiculous. Um, but the analogy I always use is, imagine if alcohol was like street drugs or other drugs, because they're all drugs, right? Where you didn't know the strength of what you were getting, where you might have two beers. You might split a 12 pack with your buddy on a Friday night watching the game and be fine. And the next day, one beer kills you, because you don't have any inkling as to what the content of the package you bought off the dude on the street is. So, um, yeah, I'm very passionate about that. I want to be more involved, but I'm not good at being politically correct. So I kind of stay away from being too involved on the political end of things, at least thus far, but that may be on my horizon. Um, it's addiction is actually pretty rare from everything I've been able to find for chronic pain patients. Yeah, we need to get doctors out of the government out of the doctor's offices altogether, with everything from drugs to abortion to pain to all of it. You know, uh, you can't draw a line in Washington to separate this group from that group and decide who is what and who. You've got to be closer to the source. Yeah, that's true. Generally, you'll pass out when your blood alcohol limit gets a certain level. However, every few years, I hear, and I'm sure it happens more often than that, somebody will die of alcohol poisoning, or some college kid will get crazy and chug a bottle of Jack Daniels or something. Or the other thing I've heard is, it's not directly the alcohol, but like people will aspirate their vomit when they pass out because they don't have anybody watching them to take care of them, and die that way. Yeah, I mean, this fentanyl crap. I mean, I don't know where it's all coming from, but it's getting in the country somehow, right? We all know that. And if it's not getting in the country, it's being made here. Yeah, no, I don't like to take the pills. I really don't like the way they make me feel. But when it's a choice between that or sit in the house every day all day, it doesn't leave me much option. It's a balance. Again, that's why I have my page called Surfing the Pain. That's how I think of it, trying to break that boom bust cycle so many of us get caught in, where if you're having a good day, you do everything you can, then you're in bed for 3 days. And that's no good for you, that the constant extreme swings. So trying to get somewhere, trying to find some balance. I'm going to take this as fact because this is very close to the statistics I read. Nancy says, just a fun fact, you have less than a 1% chance of developing addiction to prescribed opiates, yet you have an 8% chance of developing alcoholism after one drink, but let's call prohibition on prescription opiates. Yeah, you would think after the shit show with prohibition of alcohol and the gangsters that it empowered and the money that was made, and just a little personal note. Let's not forget the Kennedys, because that's where they got their money. Um, you know, if they were really going to look at it rationally, either all drugs should be illegal, including alcohol, including sugar, caffeine. Okay, and we all know that ain't nicotine. I'm a smoker. Got my Okay, I'm trying. And yes, I know some people tell me this is worse than smoking cigarettes, but my asthma tells me different. So we'll just leave it at that. But yeah, and with alcohol, between vehicular deaths and violence and suicide and whatnot. Yeah, exactly, Julie. When you have a good day, you kind of go crazy, and then you suffer. We have to weigh. It's the economy of pain. We have to weigh everything we want to do against what it's going to cost us, and it sucks. And yeah, alcoholism does tend to run in families. I know that much. I don't really know that much about the science of addiction. I come from a long line of alcoholics, and I rarely, if ever, drink. Not because of that. It just, I was working in bars before I was 21. So when I turned 21, I could go to the bar and bounce or bartend and get paid, and or I could go to the bar and drink and not get paid. And I always make the joke, I ended up uh, with a lot fewer ugly women in my bed in the morning if I didn't drink, because that was just my tagline as to why I didn't drink. Yeah, there's people out there who are straight up evil. And quite frankly, I don't know how a lot of these folks sleep at night. You know, yeah, Jess, you liked that one, huh? I got it from Willie Nelson. Did a country song, obviously, duh, that's kind of redundant, called I Came in last night at 2 with a 10, but woke up at 10 with a 2. I've never gone to bed with an ugly woman, but God, I've woke up with a few. And when you're in the public eye, like when it's a casino dealer and whatnot, when people wanted to know why I didn't drink, rather than give them a big story, it was usually good for a laugh and a tip if I just told them I find I wake up with fewer ugly bedmates. Hey, Monica. Oh, yeah. Shutting down the pain doctors. Yeah, they should have to by law give you a reference to somebody else, to help in a situation like that. Um, I only half jokingly say all these people who are trying to ban and limit opiates and whatnot. There's going to be a special uh, room in hell for them, and if I have my way, they're going to let me run it when I get there. So, well, hey, I am so glad so many of you came on, had so much to say, and yeah, good doctors sitting in jail who just want to help people. It's crime again. Uh, I don't know how to get public awareness out there. If you've got a message you want to get out and there's anything I can do to help you, I am more than happy to do so. Just let me know how I can be of assistance, whether that's doing an interview that I can share and you can share, after I edit it down for us, or spreading the word. It's one of those things that I just don't really know how to be of benefit to a lot of the people out there that are, these are my skills, and I'm more than happy to help the little bit of a platform and soapbox that I've got. I want to, use it to help other people get their word out. Oh, thank you, Monica. Thank you very much. God bless you too. We're all doing the best we can. We're all part of one big happy family. And it's try and help out and be a blessing to each other and whatnot. So, wow. I did not know that Suboxone, is that the way you pronounce that, causes permanent heart damage. Oh, Jess, you're so welcome, and I look forward to hearing from you, and definitely doing something. Yeah, like I said, it's in its infancy. I took several months off, so I know I'm just getting the ball rolling again and gaining some momentum. So, but I know my wife is going to have dinner ready here pretty soon, so I should probably get off. This is the longest show I've done in quite some time, but it makes it so much easier when you have live people to interact in instead of just talking to the camera. So I do really want to thank each and every one of you who bothered to take the time to check in and help forward the conversation. And please feel free to share this and the news of what I got going on out here. Like I said, I'm on every Sunday at 5 o'clock, and yeah, if you've got some people I can interview, that'll. Yeah, I won't be able to keep up with the fast typers because I can't type hardly at all. But you know what? We'll make it work one way or the other. I told my wife if it takes off, I might have to have her be my what do they call it? The person who watches the chat. I can't think of the kind of like an engineer, but be my assistant. So. All right. Well, I'm going to let you all go. Again, thanks so much for coming in. It means the world to me to have people show up. With that, I'm going to sign off for this week. We'll see you next Sunday. Joseph of Borg, and I am out of here.